Hello, everyone. This is Joseph Schooland. I am an account manager here from Populi, and today we're going to go over intro to donations. So if that's what you're here for, then you are here in the right place. A couple housekeeping tips, like always. If you have any questions, throw them over in the Q&A, and it's much easier for me to process them there, so I will grab those over there. Also, yeah, you might know me already. I don't know, but I'm one of the account managers here. Nick Holloway is the other one. And then we have a lot of support team, a lot of developers that you might have interacted with through support tickets. Whenever you reached out to us in support, we always get the right person in front of you who you need, even if that might be one of our developers or even our head developer. So who knows who you've talked to? Hopefully we do have certain support people who are kind of on our front line. So hopefully you're getting to know those folks. And so it's not like you're always just getting a totally brand new person. We love to get to know our clients and love to see you guys using Populi and enjoying Populi. All right, up here in the top right is our help button. If you need some help, you can click there. If you're the type who likes to research on your own, you can search the knowledge base. If you want to reach out to one of us, go ahead and open a support request. If you want to view some requests you've already opened up and see what their status is, you can view those here. If you want to make a feature request for us and give us some ideas and some ways to improve Populi, you can do that here. And if you want to interact with other clients about how they might be using Populi, you can do that here. As far as our support goes, we have phone and email support for all faculty and staff, and then email only for students. Our hours are Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. And you can do the math and figure out what that means in your time zone. When we do send back a support request, when we do reply, we don't just send it to this view my request area. We actually send you an email too, so you'll be able to interact back and forth through email. If you want to give us a call, it's 877, the number 4, in the word Populi. Hopefully you can just memorize that real quick and never forget it again, and always know how to find help. It's 877, the number 4, and the word Populi. If you do forget it, totally fine. Go ahead and look on our website. There's also a spot here in the knowledge base where you can find our number. Keep an eye on these promoted articles up here at the top. I'm just going to point you to some things that I think are handy in the knowledge base. Here's that how to contact us and what we can do for you. That's all about our support, and that has the phone number in it and our hours and so on. Getting started with your school's new Populi site is a great place where we put all the different tutorials in one place and in a certain order, so you can set up your school from scratch. Or maybe you're new to Populi, you're the new person around, you just want to look and see how it was set up from scratch back in the day, and maybe even just make sure that there's nothing that could be done a little better. Today we're going to talk about donations. We'll find that over here in this bubble: financial, billing, accounting, and donations. And donations has kind of its own little section down here. And we're going to take a look at setting up donations. So let's run through this. Step 1. Now, here's where I'm going to leave kind of the support article, and we're going to go into my fake school and look in there. But this is what it will look like if you go here. Notice how we have these little links all throughout our articles. So if there's not enough information here, we're trying to keep it high level, but if there's not enough information here, dig a little deeper in one of those links. So step 1, if you want to take online donations, the first thing you got to do is set up a credit card processor with Populi. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this because this is really more of a financial admin's job, and I've covered this in our student billing video. But what you need to do is you need to go through the online payment settings, make sure they're all filled out, and then set up a payment gateway either with Stripe or Authorize.net. Those are the two that we connect to. Stripe is the easiest to use and the easiest to get things like ACH payments with, which are cheaper than credit card. Authorize.net, we have it set up now where it's really easy to get signed up in here. You can just click this link and sign up. Some people already have Authorize.net. I've heard it's a little more clunky behind the scenes, but I've never seen it myself. I've just heard that from some clients. So you choose the one that you want. The main reason we have Authorize.net is because even if it might be a little clunky for some folks, it is this kind of universal gateway that connects your merchant to Populi. So if you're using Chase as your credit card merchant. Chase Payment Tech, I think is what they call it. And you don't want to leave Chase. Early back in the day, you negotiated the best deal you could ever have negotiated with any credit card merchant, and you don't want to lose that. Then you can use authorize.net simply as a gateway rather than a merchant, and it will be Populi goes to authorize.net, which then goes to Chase Payment Tech. It'll take a little bit to set up, but that might be a reason why you'd use authorize.net. If you're curious about pricing, none of this pricing has anything to do with Populi. We're just linking to these two folks. So you'll need to work with them to figure out what their prices are. I believe they both post their prices on their website. And I believe Stripe has a special nonprofit pricing. Stripe's also great for like no hidden fees. It's pretty straightforward pricing too. So there you go. Set one of those up, and you can set these up for different things. For example, if your donations is kind of a separate entity from the school or something like that, you can have it go into a different bank account by setting up a different credit card merchant. So that's step one. Make it so your donors can pay you online. Step two, lay some of the groundwork in your chart of accounts. For any donations to be taken, you're going to need a corresponding income account for those donations to come into. And you could have one, you could have 5, you could have 10, you can have as many as you want. If you just have the regular donations roll, you're not going to be able to set these up. You have to reach out to your financial admin and say, hey, can you set up my donations income accounts and move those over? Once you have that income account, and that's really not for you in the donations side as much as it is for all the people who are running the accounting side and trying to reconcile the books. They're the ones who kind of want to have their account number set up properly so they know how to reconcile those correctly. But that is something you got to do. And you want to do that first before you do this next thing, which is set up one or more funds. This is where you're the one who starts digging into this stuff. And funds are your way of managing and distinguishing how you're going to get donations. You could have a fund called unrestricted giving. You could have a fund for your new library, for some other new building. When you add a fund, you're really just giving it a name. And then this is where that income account comes in, tying it into that income account. You also, if you want, can tie it to one of your scholarship accounts if you want the money to go straight into a scholarship account. You decide if it's taxable, tax deductible or not. Check that box. Do you want to allow it to show online, which means can they pay online for this? Yes or no? Check that box. And is this going to be your default fund? You can check that box. All right. Step 4, set up one or more pages for online donations. Once we have our funds, we can create a page that will help us gather funds. Now these, we can just copy the links and send them out over email so that maybe we're just doing one email. We want to track the success of that. So we create a unique page for that email so we can see all the funds that come in through that one unique page. Or we could have just a generic standard page that's always on our website for unrestricted giving or something like that. Want to add a page, I just hit add, give it my own name, what I want to call it, page title, page message. This would be things that your donor would see when they land on it. Tie it to a campaign if you want. We'll look at campaigns in a minute. Tie it to a particular fund or split between a couple funds, or just allow the donor to choose which fund. If it's a more generic page, you just allow them to choose. If it's coming through an email or postcard blast, then you're going to want to specify a fund. Also, you can choose how they can give. So I can say they can give any amount over $100. Or I could say, no, this is just for our one dinner and it's $100 each or $50 each or whatever you charge. Or I could choose from different preset amounts. So $100 for this one, $200 for this one, $500 for that one. And they'll be able to choose which one they want. Or I could combine these two, any amount over, and choose and do this. So now I've got any amount over 100, or they can choose between these. Sorry, any amount, let's say over 25, and then they can choose between these. You can do our default thank you page. You can create your own thank you message, or you can redirect to a particular website. And if you redirect You can also do custom CSS for this form so that the fonts and box shapes match your website. Not a lot of schools necessarily use this because you kind of get in the weeds on the designer side. But if you have a really great webmaster who loves, all the details of the design of your website, then they can use this. Do you want it to automatically send an email receipt? Do you want to allow the donor to comment when they add the donation? Do you want to allow the donor to do a recurring payment? By the way, this recurring payment will not work if you're using authorize.net as a gateway. There's just too much stuff in between for us to allow this to happen. Stripe will work, and authorize.net as a merchant, I believe, will also work. And then you can decide a specific payment gateway if you want, or just have it be the norm. Let's look at this. So here's one already set up. We automatically put your logo up here. Here's that page title. Here's some page text. They put in their email address and phone number so that we can match them up with a proper donor. Or they could say, no, this is actually on behalf of an organization. They would choose their whether they want to do ACH or credit card. And Populi will change the details accordingly. And then depending on what you set up, here is where I already preset this one, but I've got 50, 100, 200, 500, or other. So any of these. And the donor can choose this to be a one-time donation or to have this amount be a monthly donation. They can then comment and make the donation. So that is step 4, set up some pages. Step 5, add some appeal media. These are just very basic. You're really only going to have like 4, 5, 3. But how do you reach out to your donors? Postcard, email, letter, phone call. Make them generic. We can get more specific on these later. But generically, how do you reach out? Letters, emails, phone calls, mailers, special events, and we could add those in. Step 6, if you want, you can add some custom donation fields. These fields will end up going onto the donation itself. So when a donation comes in, you want to flag it with a certain data point, and we don't have those data points already built in, then you can add your own field, whether it's text or a select box or date, time, number, even upload a separate file to that donation. Step 7, dig into the remaining donation settings, and that is right here. I won't go through all these in detail. These are really easy for you to just, copy and paste one of these or take a picture of it and ask support, hey, what does this one mean? And should it be checked yes or no? What do you think? There we go. That is the setup. Now that we've got it set up, then we can start using it. So let me show you some ways to use it. First off, how do we make someone into a donor? There are 2 ways. One is if there's someone in your system already and they have a donation comes in, you can link that donation to that person and that will automatically switch them to becoming a donor. We could also go in and let's say we go into our contacts here and I want to look up all my alumni. I can look up these folks. I can click on one of them. I can go to their financial page under their donations and change their status from not a donor to potential active or inactive donor. If a donation comes in, then Populi is going to automatically make them an active donor. If you just want them to be potential for now because you're not sure, then you can do that. And if someone's been donating for a while and now they're no longer going to, you can make them inactive. So you just simply search for a person or look them up, click on their name, go to their donations and change their status. You can also give them a particular donations representative if you want. So how do you take donations? Well, we already saw the online form that you could put in a link to an email or on your website. If someone pays in a check, instead, then you can just click record a donation here. You can choose your fund or split it between multiple funds. What's the payment method? What's the amount? And reference number like a check number, and tie it to a campaign if you want, and add any of your own comments. You can also actually go to the page on your website if they're calling you on the phone and giving you, so let's say we do the new building page. I could just open this up and take in their credit card or ACH information over the phone and fill in the amount that they ask me to and make that donation here for them, and that will go into Populi. Okay, so what do all these buttons do? How do I do some reporting? How do I figure out who's doing what? Okay, let's see. I'm going to move away. I don't have very much data in this fake school, so I'm going to move away to a different fake school that has a lot more data, although it has tons of data and can be a little messy. That's why it's a little hard to show the setup. But now that we need some data, here we go. Here are the different areas of your donations page. We've got a dashboard that shows you some quick links to stuff, campaigns, donations, donors, and recurring. We spent some time in settings earlier. Now let's look at the rest. For dashboard, I can see by month what kind of donations have come through. I can see by fund what donations have come through. I can see summary information and most recent donations. And I can do this year to date, last year, this month, last month, or whatever custom range I choose. For campaigns, here I can look up a particular campaign or add new ones. And I get similar graphs for donations by month and then donations by appeal rather than fund. And I can do this year to date, last year, this month, last month, or some custom range. I get a summary right here and ROI for the campaign. The way I get that ROI is I can add new appeals. Remember, we created some appeal media that was very generic, email, something like that. Well, I can add a new one and give it a name. So I could say the Coral Tour email #1, something like that. And then I have my generic medium called email. Probably not email blast, just email would be great. And then when I actually sent that email out and how much it cost me to send that email out. And then choose a status. Also postcards, special events, put in your cost and send that out. That way you can link certain appeals to campaigns and have those come through when you send out your donation. So if you set it up right, then Populi will know which appeals got what donations. So what I'm saying is you'll have then an ROI. How much money did I spend? How many donations did I receive? I can even create separate online donation pages, just one off right here for this particular campaign so that I can maybe do one per email blast so I can keep all those straight. Next up, I have these two tables. One is called donations, one is called donors. Donations are all the donations that came in, and it's looking at the individual donations themselves. So for example, Aaron Bells shows up here 4 or 5 times on this list because he's made 5 donations. Or I could go to donors, and donors is just showing one person at a time and giving a summary of everything they've given. Let's look at donations first. By the way, anywhere in Populi that you see data like this, you've got a filter up here, and I can add extra conditions, filter down by certain things like, is it a recurring donation or not? What's the donor name? What's the donation number? What's the tax year, posted date? Different tags, custom fields I'm tracking. What was the payment method? How much the donation is, and so on, amount. So I can track all that. I can save that filter, and I can load other filters. We have some pre-built ones called donation this month, this week, this year, and you can do your save filters. And once I've done that, then I can email that group, text that group, or get them out to a spreadsheet. And on the way out to the spreadsheet, I can pull out any other data columns I want, hit go, and now I've got a spreadsheet with all the data I want to make that report. There are a lot of cool other things you can do as far as actions go. For example, I could filter down to a group that needs to be acknowledged. And I can apply a communication plan that will send them a series of emails over the next 2 weeks that thank them. Or maybe I apply a communication plan that gives a series of to-dos to my assistant so that they can actually send a physical postcard or whatever they might need to do to track down that person. So I could filter this down to people over a certain number when they're donation, maybe people who've given over $5,000 in one donation. And then I can apply that communication plan or email them a thank you. And then once I've done that, I can mark them all as acknowledged. So I've done that thank you for them. You can see there's a few other actions here that are pretty handy, but those I think are the ones that are really good to know. Populi will let you know if this is made online or acknowledged. Right now it's showing everybody who is not acknowledged. So next is donors. I told you donors just zooms in on that one person and gives a summary of what they've given. So here's Aaron Bell's largest donation, how many donations, soft credits, total amount, including soft credits. Same kind of thing here. I can filter by all these different types of fields. I can load. We have some special filters last year, but not this. Some year, but not this month, this week, this year, who downgraded this year, who upgraded this year, the largest donation. And I can save my own filters and choose a saved filter. And same thing from here, just like everywhere in Populi, we have these filters all over the place for all the departments, but email, text, export, and then some extra things you can do here too. Finally, if you choose to allow people to opt into recurring donations, $100 a month, stuff like that, then you can manage those here. So if they call you up and say, hey, can you update my payment information? Or can you change it so it doesn't come out on the 5th day of the month, but comes out on the 8th day of the month? Or can you resend the link to me so I can do my own changes? Or can we pause it for a little bit? Or things like that, you can dig into here and take care of that. By the way, every single time a payment's about to be withdrawn from a donor's account, you can they'll get sent an email that will give them access to this kind of thing where they could cancel it so it doesn't, get insufficient funds or something like that, or they could change the day of the month. So they do have control. It's not like just because they opted into monthly, it's not like it's now all of a sudden completely out of their hands. It's their money and they can still make the changes they need, or they can call you and ask you to help. All right, that is it. If you have any questions, please reach out to our support team. Go ahead and just, and I don't see any questions in the Q&A now, so go ahead and throw those out if you got them. But if you have any other questions, reach out to our support team. Remember, email, phone support. If you want to dig a little deeper. Oh, I forgot. We do have a YouTube channel. This is going to go up on our YouTube channel. There's all kinds of other places to find help here too. So that's another thing you can do if you like to research on your own. But if you have questions, reach out to our support team, dig around our YouTube channel, dig around our knowledge base. Or if you want to schedule a webinar like this, where you can actually talk instead of just texting in your questions, go ahead and schedule that with your account manager. We'd love to help you. We'd love to schedule something like that for you. Sometimes you just need to talk a bigger picture than you can over phone email support, and we understand that. And sometimes the YouTube videos weren't quite it because they were just kind of to the average college, and you've got some unique things in your school. So that combination of really needed to talk your ideas out in a bigger way and have something really specific for your school is a great thing to send out to your account manager so they can schedule a webinar and we can look at the same thing and get all that ironed out. All right, it was good spending time with you guys. Take care, and we'll see you later. Bye.